This is Exodus or Shemot, chapter 20, beginning at verse 3. We will have no other mighty ones against the Most High. We will not make any carved image or any likeness of that which is in the Shamayim above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. We will not bow down to them, nor serve them. For Yahuwah our El is a jealous El, visiting the wickedness of the fathers on the children, to the third and fourth generation of those that hate him, with showing kindness to thousands of those who love him and keep his commandments. We will not bring the name of Yahuwah our El to nothing, for Yahuwah does not leave us unpunished, who brings his name to nothing. We will remember the Shabbat day, to keep the Kodesh. 6 days shall we labor and do all our work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat. For in 6 days Yahuwah made Shamayim, and the earth, and the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore Yahuwah barak the Shabbat day. We will respect our fathers and our mothers, so that our days are long upon the earth. We will not murder. We will not commit adultery. We will not steal. We will not bear false witness against our neighbor. We will not covet anything that is our neighbor's.
Father Yah, we stand before you in this set-apart day, this Sabbath, Father, asking, Father, that you would incline your ear to our prayers, Father, and that our prayers would be acceptable unto you, Father. We pray and ask that every soul that is here, Father, that they be able to receive your word with thanksgiving and gladness. Let it fall on the softness of the heart, Father, and let it grow and let it be planted and grow into something mighty, Father, as you provide the increase. Father, we pray that you would give utterance unto the speaker, Father, and understanding unto the ear, so that we all may be doers, that your Ruach would be with us on this day, Father, that you would rest and abide with us on this your Sabbath day, Father. Father, we pray and ask that the praises of our lips would be acceptable unto you, that we would sing with our whole heart, Father, and with all our power and all our might, Father, and all our soul, Father, will be poured out to our praises, and that everything will be done, Father, with gladness and joy, Father. Father, we pray for those people who may not be here, that you would allow them to make it safely, and all those people who are watching on the live stream, Father, that they would be edified, Father, according to your word, and that all the words that are heard today, Father, they would be acceptable unto you, Father, and that you would give understanding, Father, and they would be used for the uplifting of your people and the building of the temple, Father. And all these people and all these things we pray and we give thanks for Shemi Kawawa, Bekaya, Hoshua, Hamashiach, Rawaka, Kodesh. So be it. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Hallelujah. I don't know how many was here last night, but we enjoyed ourselves. God cover our voices, because praise and worship, that second half was bomb, okay? I'm so thankful to be here. I'm thankful that praise and worship was able to go forth, where people was able to feel it in their heart. And we had immersions this morning. How awesome is that? Hallelujah. That's a hallelujah. That's something to be thankful for. These people decided to make him above all things. They wanted to change their life. They wanted to know more about him. How awesome is that? Hallelujah. Y'all gotta get excited today. We can't be praying and praying today. Hallelujah. We came to praise him, worship him. This is his holy set apart day. Hallelujah.
me Get ready, y'all.
Hey,
Shalom. Shabbat shalom. Did everybody was here last night? Did y'all enjoy it? That was so good. You ain't see it yet? You was in it. Yeah, you was all out on front. You jumped off the stage. And you was singing to your woman. We all see you. We all see you. Sister Wanda gets serenaded on every occasion. Shabbat shalom. How was everybody's week? Great. I hear a lot of goods. I hear a lot of greats. Excellent. Did anybody have a bad week? Nobody had a bad week? Anybody have anything bad happen to them this week? Not one bad thing this whole week? No? Not one bad thing the whole week? No? So it's been a great week then, huh? Not one bad thing. That's good. I guess God really is good all the time. One bad thing,
So I got arrested a little while ago, and I got a ticket at the same time I got arrested. So when they let me out, I was trying to pay the ticket, but I couldn't find it, so I let it go. And then a week later, I got a letter in the mail, like, hit me with all these fees and restrictions on my license.
Got a warrant.
I don't think it's a warrant, but it is the issue.
So, is that a bad thing?
That's a bad thing.
So does that make the Most High not good?
No, the Most High always.
He always good.
Always.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Even though you got a ticket,
Even though I
you got arrested,
that was my
and all of these less than I guess,
satisfactory.
yeah, things happen to you.
Yeah.
Still good.
Still good.
Still good. And everybody agree to that?
Yeah.
So nobody had a bad. Does anybody ever have a bad week?
No.
Bad day? Yeah? And these bad weeks and bad days, is the Most High still good?
Yeah.
All the time? So like when praise and worship was going on, it was good because these different songs was kind of like resonating, like what I was gonna bring out in the lesson, like especially the all the time you are good. What was the song that? Hey, did they leave? Where Ari go? Ari gone? Was that Ari or Ali? What's the song that she led? Y'all remember that song? How it went? Y'all know the word? Anybody know the words? How it go? You did not create me to worry. You did not create me to fear. But you created me to worship daily. So I'm gonna leave it all right here. And then how the chorus goes. And I trust in you. So that was so it was so perfect because it went right. So if y'all didn't know, the title of this lesson is Through the Storm. Through the Storm. So that's why I just feel like it was so on point with that song because it's so legit. Like we wasn't created to worry, we wasn't created to fear, but we was actually created to worship. That's 100% legit. And based on the fact that when we had these bad weeks, these bad days, these bad occurrences, like the song says, and I will trust in Yah. No matter what. I'm gonna leave it all right here. That means you gotta let go of any of these less than satisfactory occurrences, right? You gotta let them go and trust in the Most High. Right? Is that easy? It's a challenge. Let's keep it real. It's tough. Why is it tough? Why is it tough? Go ahead. You got something to say, young brother? I see you raise your hand.
It's tough.
Why is it tough?
It's tough. It's tough to handle things.
It is tough to handle things sometimes. But why is it tough? Why is it as easy as it is for us to read, we're going to trust in the Most High with all our heart and with all our might and with all our mind, right? It's easy to read those words. But how difficult is it to actually do it? How hard is it to actually do it? Is it hard for some? It might be harder for some than it is for others. Is it difficult? Anybody who feel like that's a difficult thing to do, let me see your hand. It's difficult for you to just let go and just let the Most High work. Yeah? Why is it difficult? Any one of you? Doubt? Doubt? What do you doubt? I'm just saying. Who does anybody agree to doubt?
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Why do you doubt?
Sometimes it can be, well, majority of the time, I think it's from the pressures of men that don't have, like, necessarily have the same faith around you.
Mm-hmm.
They can kind of like poison you.
Mm-hmm.
Their doubt.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask y'all this. Like I said, the title of this lesson is called Through the Storm. How many people have first off, what is a storm, right? What's a storm? The proverbial storm.
A storm is like a thundercloud.
Thundercloud, but that's what it is literally. But what is the proverbial storm? Meaning, when we're talking about metaphorically, what is a storm?
Trials and tribulations.
Tough times, trials and tribulations, hard times, difficult times, those times where you rather doubt than believe because it looks like it's too much. The odds look insurmountable. Means like that you're not going to be able to get past this thing, right? We do. It's absolutely. Absolutely. We put it on ourselves. That's where the doubt comes from. We put it on ourselves, all right? So the question is, how many of y'all in this room have been through the storm? If every hand don't raise, somebody lying. If you ain't been through the storm, somebody, hey, y'all must not be living. Y'all must be living under a rock. You hear me? If you ain't been through the storm, either they say either you going into the storm, you in the storm, or you coming out of the storm. That's how the saying goes, right? So let's start off. We're gonna start off with Matthew the 8th chapter. Matthew chapter 8, verse 23. And 23.
Matthew chapter 8 and verse 23. And when he was entered into a ship.
Who was that he? Mashiach. When he was entered into the ship, what happened?
His disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea.
Everybody know what a tempest is?
Earthquake.
It's an earthquake, right? Earthquake, a wind, a mighty. But in the sea, this earthquake would cause the waves and the sea to, Go ahead.
Insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves, but he was asleep.
But he was what?
Asleep.
But he was asleep. So the boat is rocking, the waves is going everywhere, but he was asleep. Who is this he? Mashiach. Who we supposed to strive to be like? And so when all this stuff was happening around him, what was he doing? So anytime you catch somebody asleep, when stuff is going on and the brother might be asleep, just understand, we trying to be like Mashiach around here. I'm just saying. Thought I didn't know. Nobody did. Go ahead.
And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Master, save us, we perish.
We what?
We perish.
Uh-huh.
And he said unto them, why are you fearful?
Stop. So he said, so they came to him and said, Master, save us, we perish. And he asked them, he said, why are you fearful? Let me ask y'all this. What were they afraid of?
Death. Dying.
They was afraid of death, right? Why were they afraid?
They doubted.
Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Doubt is right next to what? Fear, doubt, which all are components of disbelief.
Yep.
Right? Let's hold your finger there. Let's go to Matthew chapter 4 and verse 24. Keep your finger there. We're going to come right back. We're going to come back, not right back. We're going back. Matthew chapter 4 and verse 24.
Matthew chapter 4, verse 24. And his fame went throughout all the Syria, and they brought unto him all sick people that were taken with diverse diseases and torments, and those which were possessed with devils, and those which were lunatics, and those that had the palsy, and he healed them.
And he healed them. So all these people that were of any type of dis-ease were all healed, right? And the disciples were right there and witnessed it, right? Matthew 5 and 1.
Matthew 5 and 1. And seeing the multitude, he went in into a mountain, and when he was set, his disciples came unto him.
So all of his disciples came unto him when he went up to the mountain, right? Let's go chapter 7, verse 28. I just want to set a little backdrop right here. Because between chapters 5, chapter 6, and chapter 7, you pretty much got all of the different things that Mashiach touched on and he teached on throughout his entire ministry. He touched it all in those in those 3 chapters, right? So he went up into the mountain, and all the people, all his disciples, all the people who came out to see him, he spoke all of these words to them. This is Matthew 7 and 28.
Matthew 7 and 28. And it came to pass when Yahushua had entered these sayings, when he had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine.
The people were astonished at his doctrine. Why? Read.
For he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes.
Not as the scribes, but he taught them as one having authority. Meaning that if he taught as one having authority, it was somebody who was firm in what these things meant and what they said. That's how he taught, right? And they were astonished at this thing. The disciples, once again, were a witness to this, right? Matthew 8 and verse 1.
Matthew chapter 8 and verse 1. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. And, behold, there came a leper, and worshipped him, saying, Master, if you will, thou canst make me clean. And Yahushua put forth his hand, and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed.
And immediately his leprosy was cleansed, just like that. Matthew chapter 8 and verse 16.
Verse 16, when the even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils.
Many that were possessed with devils. Go ahead.
And he cast out the spirits with his word.
With his what?
With his word. And healed all that were sick, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, himself took our infirmities and bare our sickness.
So the disciples. Let's go back to Matthew. Let's go back to verse 26. Matthew 8 and 26. So his disciples were a witness to all of these different miracles, right? They saw him heal the sick. They saw him heal those people who had leprosy. They saw him speak with authority. And yet, when they was faced with the storm, they feared before anything. The first thing they did was fear. Feared their own death. And then they ran to him and said, save us, we perish. And his response was, verse 26.
Verse 26, and he said unto them, why are you fearful, O you of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the wind and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, what manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him?
It's good. Let's get 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7. So let me ask y'all, why do y'all think the sea obeyed him? spoke with authority. He created the sea. I think both answers are sufficient. 2 Corinthians 5 and 7. So even with the disciples having witnessed these things with their own eyes, they still doubted in their heart. They still doubted to the point where they were fearful of death, even though they walking with the man, so to speak, right? 2 Corinthians 5 and 7.
2 Corinthians 5 and 7. For we walk by faith, not by sight.
Okay. So very simple principle, right? We walk by faith and not by sight. Hold on to that thought. Let's get Galatians 5 and 16. We walk by faith and not by sight. So we got two distinct, different walks, so to speak. One deals with faith or belief, and one deals with sight, or what you actually witness, right? 5 and 16.
Galatians 5 and 16. This I say then, walk in the Ruach.
Walk out?
In the Ruach.
Walk in the Ruach. So walk in the Ruach would be the equivalent to walking by what? Faith. Okay, go ahead.
And ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
Because the lust of the flesh would be equivalent to walking by what? By sight, right? So you got the faith and the Ruach, and then you got the flesh and by sight, right? Two very distinctly different walks. Go ahead.
For the flesh lusteth against the Ruach, and the Ruach against the flesh.
So the desires of the Ruach is one thing, the desires of the flesh is something totally different. And they are what?
And these are contrary the one to the other.
What does it mean to be contrary one to the other? They are completely opposite. The things that are pleasing to your flesh are not pleasing to your Ruach or your spirit. The things that are pleasing to your Ruach or your spirit are not pleasing to your flesh whatsoever. Whatsoever. They are contrary to each other. Don't get it twisted. Go ahead.
Contrary the one to the other, so that you cannot do the things that you would.
Now what does that mean, you cannot do the things that you would?
Like your flesh is preventing you from doing the things that you planned on doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your flesh is right in the way of you doing those things that the Ruach desires. Your flesh is in the way of that. Anytime that you do something that's opposite of what the word says, guess what's in the way? Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Anytime you can't accept correction of these scriptures, guess what's in the way? Anytime somebody tries to point something out to you that's correct, that's right, that you should be doing, I guess that's right along with accept correction. But anytime that you don't play your position as it pertains to these scriptures, guess what's in the way? What's another word for flesh? Simple as that. Simple as that. When you know, and so, okay, so let me say this. So if pride and flesh are sort of right there with each other, right? Hiding behind your flesh is pride, peeking over your shoulders. Then your Ruach, what do you think is contained within that? What's the opposite of pride? Humility. Simple as that. If you are the type of person that when faced with a situation where you may not be correct in, and you don't have an issue with saying, you know what, I apologize, I'm sorry, or I was wrong, that's humility. That's meekness, right? Those are the things that are a byproduct or a fruit of the simple, right? It's very simple. We go through this all the time, right? Let's get 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7. So when these disciples was afraid that they was going to perish, right? Or when they came to him saying we're going to perish, what was going to die? Their flesh was going to die, right? And they was afraid. They was afraid. So, is that 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7.
2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7. For Elohim have not given us the ruach of fear.
The what?
The ruach of fear. But of power and of love and of a sound mind.
The power, love, and of a sound mind. So if we don't have the ruach of fear, then where would fear be rooted in? What would fear be rooted in? The flesh or the ruach? Simple, right? So that means that the power, the love, and the sound mind is what? Spirit. Right? Notice, we got two distinctly different walks, two distinctly different principles. One rooted in the flesh, one rooted in the ruach, right? We good? Y'all with me so far? Okay, let's get Hebrews 11 and verse 6.
Hebrews 11 and 6. But without faith.
Without what?
Without faith.
Without faith, what?
It is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Elohim must believe.
Must what?
Must believe that he is. And that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
That diligently seek him. He is a rewarder of him that diligently seeks him, right? So if without faith it's impossible to please him. For he that comes to Elohim must believe that he is. So if you believe that he is, and he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him, then when you have those bad days, those bad weeks, those hard times, right? And you begin to doubt, what does that show? Lack of faith. Disbelief. Disbelief. Because if you are a believer, and he's a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. And we hear every week, learning this word. We in our scriptures daily. We singing praise and worship. We devoting our life and our walk to this word, right? And then you turn around and you get faced with any form of adversity. And the first thing you do is say, dang, this don't look good. Dang. Even questioning the outcome at all. Even questioning the outcome at all. Because if you're supposed to be rewarded, if you diligently seek it, then you got to believe that you're going to be rewarded, right? So even though you might have made some mistakes and things happen that are not what was the word that you used? Less than satisfactory, right? Even though those things might happen and are less than satisfactory, it really shouldn't matter in the grand scheme of things, because you know at the end of the day, the Most High is with you. We was not created to worry. You feel what I'm saying? I'm going to trust in y'all. No matter what. No matter what. Now, mind you, all of these different, let's go Numbers 13. All of these different principles that I've been trying to hit. And I say this all the time, but it's because it's based on my own experience. The reason why I even bring this stuff out is because it's something that was happening to me, right? And so I pull it out because I'm dealing with it. I'm dealing with certain things where I'm doubtful, where I'm fearful, where I'm experiencing anxiety, and it make me have to dig into these scriptures because I know I shouldn't be. I know there's no reason for me to be doubtful. There's no reason for me to be fearful. There's no reason for me to be having actual anxiety attacks. I don't know if y'all ever had an anxiety attack. Anxiety is rooted in fear. And when I realize that, I know that there's no reason that I should be having these anxiety attacks. I know there's no reason for it other than my own flesh being in the way, and I'm fearful of something. And so I gotta, what is the reason? Let me dig into these scriptures. Let me re-solidify my diligent seeking. You feel me? Because I know that the fear is just this flesh trying to fool my spirit into thinking that this is the reality. Right? And my ruach know better. But they gonna constantly war against each other. Right? Constantly. Right? Let's get Numbers chapter 13 and verse 1.
Numbers 13 and 1. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Send you men, that they may search the land of Canaan.
He said what?
Send you men, that they may search the land of Canaan.
He said, send you men that they may search the land of Canaan. So right now they just came out of Egypt. They in the wilderness, right? Go ahead.
Which I give unto the children of Israel, of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moses, by the commandments of the Yahuwah, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were the heads of the children of Israel, and these were the names of the tribes of Reuben.
That's not, I ain't gonna do you like that. Verse 25. But understand that these men were chosen, right? To spy out the land, right? These men to search out the land and bring back a report. But these men were the chiefs of all of the tribes, and they were chosen. Handpicked. Y'all got that, right? Okay. Verse 25.
Verse 25. And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moses and to Aharon and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them.
And they did what?
Brought back word unto them and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land.
And showed them what?
The fruit of the land. And they told him and said, We came unto the land whether thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and that is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land.
Nevertheless, the land is dope. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice land. It's fat with milk and honey. The fruit is there, but the people of the land. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea, and by the coast of Jordan.
Okay, so they was like, look, this land is nice. It's super nice, right? How many of y'all that trusted and believed in the Most High for something? Right? How many of y'all have doubted that you was going to actually get it? Why?
Okay, something that I desired. It was several levels. One was I desiring the right thing? And
Wait. Let me be clear. Something that the Most High, He gonna give you. That you understand the principle here. He told them, I'm about to give you this land.
oh, you're talking about in that sense.
I'm about to give you this land. Something that the Most High told you He was gonna give you. But it looked like it's no way I can. It's no way. The odds look too much against me. My credit is bad. I don't make enough money. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not handsome enough. All of this stuff is self-doubt, right? It's unbelief. If you believe that the Most High gonna give you something, why do you ever doubt? Why would you ever doubt? Like we all go to the Most High in prayer plenty of times. I prayed about this, and I know I'm gonna get it. But as soon as it looked bleak, then it's like, I don't know. Why? Why would you ever? He done already told you is y'all a liar? Why would you not get what he told you he was going to give you? If he told you he was going to give it to you. He ain't a liar. So what would fool your ruach into believing that the thing he said he was going to give you, you wouldn't get? Right. They walked in there and they seen these big old dudes, the sons of Anak is there. And these dudes are 7 feet tall. And the Canaanites, they up in the mountains. And the Amalekites, they in the south. Like they clearly had already known about these people, right? Because they naming them by name. And these people had a reputation. So when they came and they saw these people there in the land, it's like, yo, the land is nice, but I don't know if we can. Verse 30.
Verse 30. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses.
So if Caleb had to steal the people, what did that mean that the people was doing? As after they brought the sons of Anak, I don't know, the sons of Anak is up in there, and ain't looking good. Man, the sons and all the whispers and the murmurs and the, I don't know, we ain't gonna be there. And Caleb had, man, hold on. Right? So he stealed the people, like, hold on. Go ahead.
And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it.
Let's go right now. We don't gotta, man, listen. Forget what they talk about. Let's go right now. We well equipped to take the land. Why do you think he thought they was well equipped to take it? Facts. Because Caleb had faith. He was clearly walking according to his faith and didn't care about what he saw. He went and saw the same thing that these other people saw. And his mentality was, they fool. It's over for them. It's nothing. It's no way that they're going to be able to stand against us. We got Michael Jordan on our team. Keep going, verse 31.
But the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we.
And they're stronger than us. But notice that they understand that even though the odds may look insurmountable, that you don't think that you can do it, guess what? Because you can't. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It looked like you can't do it because you can't do it. You can't do it. But guess what? You don't have to. You ain't got to do it. You ain't got to go and stand in front of the whoever and get your, you don't got to do it. Just do your part. Because at the end of the day, the Most High is the one who's going to work it all out for you. At the end of the day, the things that he promised you, you're going to have because he promised it to you. And he's not a liar. But if you're walking according to what you see, as opposed to according to what you know, and what you believe, it's a big difference. It's one is according to the Ruach, one is according to the flesh. And as long as you let your flesh dominate what your Ruach is, you're going to fall short every time. Let's keep reading and see. Go ahead.
And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it, it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that saw it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, so we were in their sight.
So a lot of times in the past we've read this to say, see, these people was giants. They were so big that we was like grasshoppers to them. No. He said that these was big people. Don't get me wrong. But it says that we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. Thus, we were as grasshoppers to them. Meaning that if you look at something that looks challenging and you fold under the challenge because it looks challenging, you already failed. You already failed. You don't not do something because it looks challenging. Never quit because something looked hard or because something is hard. Why would you quit? If you set your goal to accomplish something, why would you ever quit because it's hard? Because guess what? If it was easy, everybody would do it. If it was something easy that everybody could do, everybody would do it. Everybody got that PPP loan, didn't they? Everybody got that money. It was easy to do. Right? But if it was easy, everybody would do it. But everybody can't put the work in. Like everybody's not meant to do what you're meant to do. Understand, 12 different men got chosen to go seek out this land, right? All of them didn't see the same thing. All of them didn't come back with the same report. There was only two. There was only two. They had the faith that believed that no matter what we saw, right? Verse chapter 14, verse 36. So it's clear of who was walking by faith and who was walking by sight, right? So let's see what happened to the men that was walking by faith and was walking by sight. Let's see what happened to them. Let's see the outcome. Go ahead.
Numbers 14 and 36. And the men which Moses sent to search the land, who returned and made all the congregation to murmur against him by bringing up a slander upon the land, even those men that did bring up the evil report unto the land, died by the plague.
Did what?
Died by the plague before Yahuwah.
But
Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of the men that went to search the land, lived still.
So Joshua and Caleb lived, but everybody else died because they were scared. And when they were scared to go up in the land, what were they trying to do? What was they scared of? They were scared to die. They were scared to die. Right. He who tried to save his life gonna what?
Lose it.
But when you're willing to lay your life on the line, you're gonna do what? Save it. It's the same person. The Shiite don't just be talking. Right? Even if Joshua and Caleb was probably in a mindset of, even if we went in this boy and died, I'm still gonna believe. And a lot of us do not have that mentality at all. Even if, because the thing is that even if you gotta give your life for the Most High, if your outcome is to gain the kingdom, is it not worth it? Is it not worth it? Yeah. But if you're trying to spare this flesh that don't want you to make it into the kingdom anyway, or all the fear is rooted in, guess what happens to your soul? It's gonna perish. So the same thing happens to us when we face with these quote unquote giants and these tough things and these hard days and these hard weeks and all of this stuff. When we begin to doubt in our mind that things are gonna happen, that when something happened on the job and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know how we're gonna make it past this. When you and your kid is out in the street and they running wild and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm gonna do about this boy. He just a knucklehead. When you and your spouse is into it and you're like, I don't know how we ever gonna get over this thing. Guess what? When you start setting up that doubt in your mind, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. At all times, you got to believe, no matter what, especially if you're a follower, that this stuff is going to work out according to the way that the Most High says it's going to work out. Through the storm, you got to still believe. Even when you're in the midst of it, you got to still believe. Even when the boat is rocking and the waves is high and it looks like, oh my God, we're about to tip over, it's about to be a wrap. You have to still believe. Simple as that. Get Psalm 73 and verse 26.
Psalms 73 and 26. My flesh and my heart.
My what?
My flesh and my heart.
Do what?
Fails.
My flesh and my heart fail.
But Elohim is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. For lo, they that are far from thee shall perish.
So what?
Perish. Though thou hast destroyed all them that go a-whoring from you. But it is good for me to draw near to Elohim. I have put my trust in the Master Elohim, that I may declare all your works.
I will trust in. Like that song was so fitting. Because that's the thing that we go through all the time. We look at the stuff and it look like we ain't gonna be able to come out of this, and it look like we ain't gonna have, like the things is not gonna work out in our favor. And we start to worrying about it, and oh my goodness, what I'm gonna do? Oh my goodness, my mama's sick. Oh my goodness, my son ain't doing well. Oh man, this boy a dummy, he can't get nothing right. Like we go through this type of stuff, right? And we begin to set up doubt, right? And they say my flesh and my heart, it failed. But I'm gonna put my trust in the Most High because He gonna strengthen my heart, right? It comes from Him. Romans chapter 8 and verse 31. Romans 8:31.
Romans 8 and 31. What shall we say then? Say to these things, if Elohim be for us, who can be against us?
Simple as that. When they went and searched out that land, they say, if Elohim be for us, then who can be against us? Say it again. Nobody. Not a soul. Go ahead.
He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all.
For who?
For us all. How shall he not with him also freely give us all things?
Some things?
All things.
All things. How shall he not freely give us all things? Go ahead.
Who shall lay anything to the charge of Elohim's elect? It is Elohim that justifies.
Read that part again for my eye right here.
Who shall lay things to the charge of Elohim's elect?
Who shall do what?
Lay charge to the things of Elohim's elect.
Who shall lay anything to the charge of Elohim's elect? Go ahead.
It is Elohim that justifies. Who is he that condemneth? It is Mashiach that died, yea, rather that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of Elohim, who also maketh intercessions for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Hamashiach?
So who gonna separate us from that love? What was that love of Hamashiach? What did he do? Died for us. Who gonna separate us from that love? Read.
Shall tribulation?
Is trouble, is hard times gonna separate us from that love? If you let it. Read.
Or distress?
Distress, same thing. Hard times. When you get in distress, what's the root word of distress? Stress. You gonna let that separate you from the love of Elohim? If you let it. Read.
Or persecution? Or famine? Or nakedness? Or peril? Or the sword? As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Nay, in all these things, we are more than conquerors.
We are what?
More than conquerors through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death,
and neither what?
Death, nor life, nor Malachim, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any creature,
nor any other creature shall what?
Shall be able to separate us from the love of Elohim, which is in Hamashiach, Yahushua HaMashiach.
So he said that neither death, nor life, nor Malachim, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall separate us from the love of Elohim. But it's only one thing that can separate you from the love of Elohim, and guess what that is? You. Simple as that. Simple as that. When you get to operating in your flesh and in your feelings and in your emotion instead of operating in the Ruach, which does the things that are written of in these scriptures, guess what you do? You separate yourself from that love. What was that love again? Say it loud enough for everybody in the back to hear you. That's that love, that he died for you. So when you separate yourself from that love, from his death, what does that do for you? Except, guess what? If he ain't died for you, guess who's going to have to die for you? You. If you don't get out the way and stop separating yourself from the love of Elohim, guess what? You're going to have to die. You're going to have to stand on that. You're going to have to wear that. Psalm 68 and verse 19.
Psalms 68 and 19. Increased be the master who daily loadeth us up with benefits, even the Elohim of our salvation, Selah.
He say who daily loads us up with benefits. I'm going to read this out of the Hallelujah. It says, blessed be Yahuwah. Day by day, he bears our burden. The El of our deliverance, Salah. Day by day, he bears our burden. How many of y'all believe that? Truly believe that. Then why are you carrying your burdens yourself? Why are you carrying that burden around? If you really believe it, why are you carrying it? That's a rhetorical question. Matthew 11 and 28.
Matthew 11 and 28. Come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, that I may give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light.
For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. He say, take my yoke upon you, and learn of me. What do you think that means? Learn of me. Learn from me. I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest in your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. You done tried everything else to lighten the load. How you want to make extra money. You want to do all of these different things. You want to listen to your friends, listen to your girlfriends, listen to your homeboys, and listen to them and try to take, no, that ain't going to lighten the load. They don't know what they talking about, especially if they ain't walking in his word. And then try 10 steps to be in a righteous woman, 10 steps to be, a virtuous woman. You done tried 10 steps to be in a man of valor. Guess what? Them don't work either. Put the dang on books down and start walking in his word. Plain and simple. It's easy. He say, what he say? I am meek and lowly in heart. Right? So we already determined that humility is a fruit of the what? Right? So, and pride is a product of what? The flesh. So that meekness and lowly of heart, if you walking in that means you walking according to the Spirit. That means when you come across something and something jump in your face and it looks like it's adverse or you meet some type of adversity, then you do it, then you handle it with meekness, right? And humility, as opposed to pride. And that which breeds strife and contention. Y'all with me? Matthew 6 and 33.
Matthew 6 and 33. But seek ye first the kingdom of Elohim and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
So what should you seek first? The kingdom, right? And everything else that you desire will happen for you. Everything else that you desire gonna happen for you. Right? How many of y'all believe that? So that mean everybody who got their hand raised seek the kingdom first? Yeah? Yeah? Seek out. What you do when you need extra money? What's the first thing you do? How? What you do? First thing. First thing. Simple as that. That's the right answer. The number one answer. Anytime you need anything, what should be your first move? Simple as that. How many of y'all do it? Anytime you want or need anything. Anytime I'm talking about anything. The littlest thing, the smallest thing, the greatest thing, anything. The very first thing you should do is what? Say it together. The very first thing you should do is what? Pray. Because you gotta seek. Get Psalms 34 and verse 4. You gotta seek the kingdom first. And anything that it is that you could ever want is gonna come. And this is just talking about on a natural level. When you want that person that's been a butthole to you for the last 2 years on your job, when you want them to change and start being nice, guess what you should do? When you want your kids to stop being unruly, what do you think the first thing you should do is?
Whoa.
That's the second thing. That's the second thing. Psalms 34 and verse 4.
Psalms 34 verse 4. I sought Yahuwah, and he heard me, and delivered me from all my fears.
From some.
All my fears.
I sought Yahuwah, and he heard me, and he delivered me from all my fears, no matter what they might be. These men, when they was in the boat, and that boat got to rocking, and guess what? They were scared. Save us! We about to die! And they like, what you scared for? I guess that's the same question we gotta ask ourselves. Right? Whenever we sit there and we fearful, we gotta take that long look in the mirror and say, what am I afraid of? Philippians chapter 4 and verse 6.
Philippians chapter 4 and verse 6. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto Elohim. And the peace of Elohim, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Hamashiach. Finally, brethren.
That's good. What do you think that means, shall keep your hearts and minds? Yeah. It's going to protect it from what? There it is, right there. It say, be careful. What do you think that be careful for nothing means? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving. What does that with thanksgiving mean? Yeah, of course it means be thankful. But in regards to what he's saying, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, what is the thanksgiving for?
The expectation is going to come to
Already believing that what you pray for is going to happen. As soon as you pray about it, you don't got to pray and worry. Don't worry about it. But by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, thank you, God. Thank you. Everything you pray for, you automatically should just end it with, thank you, God. I know you're going to do it. Right? With thanksgiving, it says, and the peace of Elohim, which passes all understanding. Right? That's that real shalom. When something can happen to you that it look like that the next person can be like, man, I don't know how you deal with that. It's because you don't understand. The peace I got, it surpasses your understanding. You don't know how I can deal with it because you don't got the peace that I got. And that peace comes from on high. Simple as that. And it sounds cliche, but if you start applying these principles, guess what? It's going to happen. It sounds cliche because you really ain't never tried it. If you sitting there like, man, I don't think I can do that. That's doubt. That's your flesh. And that means you ain't never tried. Like I said, you done tried everything else. You done tried all of these different people who telling you, try what the book says. Just apply it. Simple as that. Right? Lamentations chapter 3 and verse 54.
Lamentations chapter 3 and verse 54. Waters flowed over my head. Then I said, I am cut off.
What does it mean, waters flow over my head? What happened when waters flow over your head?
Drowning.
Right? Right? You in the storm. The ship done flipped over. And the waters is flowing over my head. You drowning. Right? And he said, what?
So I called upon the name of Yahuwah out of the low dungeon. Thou hast heard my voice. Hide not your ear at my breathing.
At my what?
At my breathing. At my cry.
At my breathing, at my cry. Now, even if, let's just say, we just dealing with this. This is something that actually just happened. It's coincidentally, I guess it's not, but something that just happened. My son is having trouble. We've been having trouble breathing, and you can see, it's that he's having trouble breathing, right? And as a father, as a parent, not just me, but his mom too, as a parent, you can see, right? You don't even have to say nothing. Understand what it's saying? Hide not your ear at my breathing, at my cry. You can see when the child is struggling. You don't even have to ask sometimes. The Most High already see it. You already know it. Go ahead.
Thou hast heard my voice. Hide not thine ear at my breathing, at my cry. Thou drewest near in the day that I called upon you. Thou saidest, fear not.
They said what?
Fear not. O Yahuwah, thou hast pleaded the cause of my soul. Thou hast redeemed my life.
It has redeemed. So in them days when you drowning, when you feel like the odds is against you, that you're not going to be, when you down in the dungeon, so to speak, the proverbial dungeon, and it says, you have heard my voice. Hide not your ear. If you ain't heard your voice, that means you caught on. So right back to what Sakal said, right back to what we all agreed on. When you face with that adversity, the very first thing you're supposed to do is what? Simple as that. Seems like some of y'all forgot. The very first thing you're supposed to do is what?
Call the teacher.
Pray. The very first thing you're supposed to do is pray. He did. He got y'all. Job 37 and verse 2. Job 37 and verse 2.
Job 37 and verse 2. Hear attentively the noise of his voice and the sound that goeth out of his mouth. He directeth it under the whole Shamaim, and his lightning,
His what?
His lightning unto the ends of the earth. After it a voice roareth. He thundereth.
He what?
He thundereth with the voice of his excellency, and he will not stay when his voice is heard. Elohim thundereth marvelously with his voice. Great things do he, which we cannot comprehend. For he saith to the snow.
He says to the what?
To the snow. Be thou on the earth. Likewise to the small rain, and to the great rain of his strength. And sealeth up the hand of every man, that all men may know his work. Then the beasts go into their dens, and remain in their places. Out of the south cometh the whirlwind, and the cold out of the north. By the breath of Elohim frost is given, and the breath of the water is straightened. Also by watering he wearieth the thick cloud, and scattereth his bright cloud.
So he is controlling the elements, so to speak, right? Right? Y'all see that? So the sea obeyed him because, like Yaron said, he created it. All of these things he created. Verse 13.
He causeth it to come, whether for correction,
Whether for what?
for correction, or for his land,
Or for what?
or for mercy.
Or for mercy. So all of these things, sometimes when you face with the storm, understand how it comes. He said he causes it to come, whether for correction, or for his land, or for mercy. So sometimes when you're dealing with these storms, guess what? You got to get something right. You need to be corrected.
That's right.
And the mercy itself is the fact that you're dealing with a storm and he ain't got you up out of here. Because we all could have been and got up out of here. But the fact that he giving you another chance, the fact that you're in the storm and not in the ground. What you got, brother?
What does he mean when they say for the land? Like, why would he cause a storm for the land?
His land is our land. He gave us that land.
Right.
So when he caused that storm, when he caused us to be removed from that land, even for his land, it's correct. It's all to deal with that correction as well, right? Isaiah 43 and verse 1.
So even when his heart is him,
Say you want.
even when his heart is him, the heart system that do the work.
This is Isaiah 43 and 1.
Isaiah 43 and 1. But now, thus saith Yahuwah that created you, O Jacob, and he that formed you, O Israel, fear not.
Do what?
Fear not.
Don't fear, right? Simple as that. Fear is a product of the what? The flesh, right? Don't fear. Why not? Let's read it.
For I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with you. And through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon you.
That's good. Let's go 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 8.
Second Corinthians 1 and 8. For we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our troubles which came to us in Asia, that we were pressed out of measure.
We were pressed out. What does that mean, pressed out of measure?
Couldn't handle it.
They couldn't handle it. Go ahead.
We were pressed out of measure, above strength, insomuch that we despaired even of life. But we had a sentence of death in ourselves.
So it was something that they couldn't handle, above their own strength, insomuch that they despaired even life. Go ahead.
But we had the sentence of death in ourselves, that we should not trust in ourselves.
That we should what?
Not trust in ourselves.
But in who?
But in Elohim, which raised the dead, who believed, delivered us from so great a death, and do deliver, in whom we trust.
In whom we what?
In whom we trust that he will yet deliver us.
So even when you to the point where it looked like you're on the brink of death, what type of faith do you need to have? That mustard seed, unchanging faith. Simple as that. Do not waver, even in the face of death, which is the most difficult. Even in the face of death. Watch this. Romans chapter 11 and verse 8. Matter of fact, Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17. Matthew 5 and 17. We know this.
Matthew 5 and 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
So he told you that he has not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill. How did he fulfill the law? Huh? He lived it?
He was the perfect sacrifice.
He was the perfect sacrifice? What else we got? You said something? You said his death? Anybody else? Hello?
He fulfilled the sacrificial law.
He fulfilled the sacrificial law? Not the whole law? No? Anybody else agree with that? He fulfilled the sacrificial law, not the whole law? You agree with that?
He fulfilled the law. He fulfilled the law in his life, and then he fulfilled the sacrificial part in his death.
So he fulfilled it in his life, and then fulfilled the sacrificial law in his death. Yeah? You agree with that? You agree with that? Let's get John 15 and 13. John 15, 13.
John 15 and 13. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
For his what?
For his friends. You are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you.
That's good. Romans 13 and 8. So he say, no greater love than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. And you are my friends if you do what I command you. Same thing. If you love me, keep my commandments, you are my friends, right? No greater love than this is a man. So he laid his life down for his friends, right? And also he fulfilled the law. Romans 13 and 8.
Romans 13 and 8. Owe no man anything but to love one another.
That's all you owe each other in this room. Just to love one another, right? Go ahead.
For he that loveth another has fulfilled the law.
Say what?
For he that loveth another has fulfilled the law.
No greater love than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend. So how did he fulfill the law? The love of the sacrifice fulfills the law. Read.
For this thou shalt not commit adultery.
Because if you love your wife, if you love your wife, you love your husband, you ain't gonna step out on him, right? If you love your brother, you ain't gonna touch his wife, right? Read.
Thou shalt not kill.
If you love one another, you won't murder them, right? You won't murder each other, right? Read.
You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. You shall not covet. And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in these same, namely, you shall love your neighbor as yourself.
And it's just any other commandment is covered in the fact that you should love your neighbor as your own self. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
What does it mean when it says bear false witness? What does that mean?
When you lie on somebody.
Rely on somebody?
When you not rely, when you lie on somebody. Yeah. Says somebody did something that they didn't do. That's a false witness. But verse 10.
Love worketh no ill to his neighbor.
Love work no ill to his neighbor. If you love your neighbor, say you won't do nothing wrong to him. Work no ill towards his neighbor. Read.
Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law.
Therefore what?
Love is the fulfilling of the law.
And no greater love than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend. Go ahead.
And that, knowing the time, that now is high time to awake out of sleep.
High time to do what?
Awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe.
So now it's time to wake out of sleep because salvation is nearer than when we believe. So all of these different lessons that we've been going through week after week after week, talking about brotherly love, talking about getting rid of pride, talking about the tailbearing that what Trav hit on last week. All of these different things is to build up toward what? Just loving each other. Simple as that. It's a love there's no ill toward his neighbor. And no greater love than one that laid down his life. If we legit love one another, that means we fulfill the law. But notice I say, if we legit love one another. Legit love one another. Not that fake stuff. Enough of that fake stuff. Stop saying you love somebody and then you talk about them when you leave here. It's not just here. It's not just dealing with the people here. This is all the way around the board. This is all the way around the board. I had a conversation with my mom yesterday. and she was upset about something, and she was ready to dive on one of her friends. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, ain't that your friend? Yeah, but she shouldn't have. Like, but still. Like, if that's somebody who you call a friend, who you legit care about, why would you, even if they hurt your feelings? That's the main thing right there. Because that's the thing that is hard for us to get past. That even when somebody hurt our feelings, what's the first thing we want to do to them?
Cut them off.
Hurt them back. That's the first thing we want to do is hurt them back. Then we want to cut them off. I ain't dealing with them. Like, nah, like how? And it's supposed to be your friend. Like, that's why I try to teach my children. You can't just call everybody friend. Everybody ain't your friend. Simple as that. We just was having this conversation on the way here. Friendship have to be earned. Friendship have to be earned. Jordan said, what you mean earned? If a person show you that you can't trust them, guess what? They ain't your friend. Simple as that. It has to be earned. Trust has to be earned. All of these things have to be earned. You can't. Nobody is just your friend. But at the same time, friendship, it comes through adversity, dealing with a hardship. Like friendship is built, right? Love is built. You love a person, and this is what we're supposed to have towards one another. You build up to that point. But if we're not doing that, if we're not displaying that here, especially amongst the body of believers, then guess what? We missing it. We not fulfilling the law. All of these different things that we think we doing by wearing fringes and keeping the Sabbath, and then all of these kind of routine things. If we don't have a heart to love the next person, then we missing it. We are missing it. Plain and simple. If you don't desire to serve the next person, if you don't desire that what you need, is there anything I can do to help? Like, that's love. That's what it's legit about. Not let me do something for you so you can do something for me. Let me help you out because one day I might need you to help me out. That stuff is loaded. Even if somebody don't do nothing for you, you're supposed to just do just out of, just out of the kindness of your heart. Right? Let's get 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 1. We're gonna shut him down. 1 Peter 5. Start at the first verse.
1 Peter 5 and 1. The elders which are among you, I exhort.
What?
I exhort.
What does that mean to exhort?
Like encourage.
Anybody know?
Encourage.
Exhort.
I said encourage.
Say again. Say again. Lift them up. Okay. I can roll with that. I can roll with encourage even, but lift them up.
Encourage. Encourage.
Yeah. So it said the elders that are among you, we got any elders in the building? Where the elders at? Y'all, I'm trying to hold y'all hands down. I know y'all ain't here. But it say the elders which are among you, I exhort. Go ahead.
Who am I also an elder?
See, you're elder too.
I'm just reading it.
See what I did there, everybody still
I'm just reading the text.
got him.
Paul said, I am also an elder, and witness of the suffering of a Messiah.
And what?
And witness of the suffering of a Messiah, and also partakers of the esteem that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of Elohim which is among you.
Do what?
Feed the flock of Elohim which is among you.
Y'all elders listening? Y'all elders listening? Read it again.
Feed the flock of Elohim which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly.
But how?
But willingly, not for filthy money, but of a ready mind.
But of a ready mind. Go ahead.
Neither as being lords over Elohim's heritage.
What does that mean, being lords over Elohim's heritage? Huh?
Being a master over his people.
Being a master, like commanding them.
Yeah.
I'm older than you. I said do this. I'm the elder. Do it. Right? Not that way. Go ahead.
Neither as being lords over Elohim's heritage, but being examples.
But being what?
Examples.
But being what?
Examples to the flock.
Y'all hear me, elders? I'm sorry. Y'all hear him, elders? Y'all hear the book? Go ahead.
But being examples to the flock, and when the chief shepherd shall appear,
And when the chief shepherd, who's that? Shall appear, what happens?
you shall receive crowns of esteem that fadeth not away.
That fades not away. Y'all hear that? Who want a crown of esteem that fade not away? Do what that just said, do. As an elder. Go ahead.
Likewise,
Likewise.
you younger,
Likewise. Likewise. Y'all listening? Who is this to? You what?
you younger,
Who of you are younger, hold your hand up. Likewise.
I'm an in-betweener.
You can either be an elder or younger. You
I'm
can't-
an in-betweener.
There you go. That boy in the middle. Likewise, you younger. Likewise, you younger. Everybody that's looking at their phone right now, there's not. Likewise, you younger. Right? Y'all hear me? Read.
Submit yourself.
Do what?
Submit yourself
Unto who?
unto the elder.
Uh-huh.
Yea, all of you be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility.
And be clothed with what?
Humility.
Now, I'm tired of them always telling me how to dress, what the. With what?
With humility.
Being clothed and be clothed with humility. Go ahead.
For Elohim fights the proud.
Does what?
Fights the proud.
Uh-huh.
And gives grace to the humble.
Uh-huh.
Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of Elohim, that he may exalt you in due time.
That he may exalt you in due time, you youngers. Your time is coming. Be clothed with humility. And in due time, Yah will exalt you. Go ahead.
Casting all your cares upon him.
Do what?
Casting all your cares upon him.
There's no reason for you to fear because you cast all your cares upon him because what?
For he cares for you.
Because he loves us. Read.
Be sober.
Uh-huh.
Be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walking about, seeking whom he may devour.
So why when it says walking about seeking whom he may devour, who do you think that in this particular text may be devoured? The one that's not doing it. This is both to the elder and the younger. If you're not doing it, it say the enemy seeks to walk as a roaring lion, seeking who he may devour. He gonna devour those people who ain't following these instructions. Go ahead.
Who resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world.
It said, whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished, meaning that people in the world deal with the same stuff that we deal in here. That's why I'd be like, and it's like stuff that happened in here and we like, it's foreign. Like, I can't believe we dealing with people gossiping. It's people. It's people. Right? It's people. They do it in the world too. It's people. Right? We're supposed to be better than that. But we still people. It's a great thing that we have good brothers that's bringing a good word so that we can correct ourselves. That's the one thing that the people in the world don't have. Is somebody that's going to be able to pull their, hey man, you going off, brother. You're not doing the right thing right now. They say, the words say that if a wise man smite me, it's a what? It's a kindness. It's a kindness. when you get that smite, when you get, you're supposed to say what? Thank you. Thank you. When you get that correction, rather than being prideful and saying, who you is thinking you could talk to me? You should be thanking the person where the correction comes from. Because they care for your soul and trying to get you on point. Y'all feel me? Go ahead, finish that up.
But the Elohim of all grace, who have called us unto his eternal esteem by Hamashiach, after that you have suffered a while, make you perfect.
Make you how?
Make you perfect. Establish strength. Settle you. To him be esteem and dominion forever and ever. So be it.
So be it.
By Sylvanus, a faithful brother unto you.
That's good. That's good right there. So it says that, but the Elohim of all grace, who have called us unto his eternal esteem by Yeshua HaMashiach. We are all believers in this room, are we not? It says, after that you have suffered a while, make you perfect. What does that mean to be perfect? Mature. Complete. Not wanting. Lacking nothing. Simple as that. Lacking nothing. So when you deal with that principle, like seek you first the kingdom, right, and all of these things will be added unto you. Do you think that it's like, well, if I seek the kingdom, I'm gonna get all these great possessions, like big houses and fancy cars and nice shoes and clothes and stuff. Is that what you think happens?
No.
No? What you think happens when you seek first the kingdom? What you think happens? When all the things that's added unto you, what do you think happens when you seek first the kingdom? You change. To the point where those things don't matter. Those things don't matter. If you get them, cool. If you lose them, then it don't matter. Because your mind changes. To the point where you know that I don't need those things in order to be satisfied. It's nothing. It's nothing. The possessions mean nothing. They cool to have, but who do they mean something to? Like we always say, you want something, right? You want something for so long, and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to get out when I get it. And you get it, and it's like, it's like a kid when they get a new toy, right? It's like, if you ever bought your kids a new toy, and they like, you think, oh man, they gonna love this, and you get it, and then they like love it for like 5 minutes, and then they spend the rest of the day playing with the box that it came in. It's a box. It's a box. It's square and everything. Look again. Like, that's how it is. It's like you want something so bad until you obtain it, and then it's really nothing. It's really no big deal. Be satisfied with the things that you have, and the things that you get is just like extra. It's like cool. Like what?
That's why there's a big difference between happiness and joy.
Absolutely.
Because happiness is based off of the things that happen, but what happens when they don't happen?
Yeah. That's absolutely. So it's just like, it's like that with any relationship, right? In relationship, you like base it on like, well, this person is not making me happy. Well, guess what? It ain't their job. It ain't their job. And you being very disingenuous to think that it is their job. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to you. Because joy comes from the inside. Right? And as long as we got the joy in our heart, somebody else's stimulation is not going to affect our joy. Because as I said, this is based on things that happen. Right? Because we equate happiness with stimulation. So to get to the point where somebody is not stimulating us anymore, then it's like, you're not making me happy. It's not my job. It's not my job. We gotta enjoy, we gotta be happy together. You feel me? Regardless of what that might look like. We talking about a brotherhood, a sisterhood, a relationship, a child, parent situation. Like, it ain't my job to make my kids happy. It ain't their job to make me happy. It's my job to raise them and teach them. And it's their job to obey. Or else. Right? But no, seriously. So that, like he's saying, the difference between happiness and joy, happiness is definitely, I can agree with that, is based on the things that happen to you or happen for you, and then you're like happy because it's temporary. Right? Once that moment, once the euphoria of something nice happening to you passes, and it's like, that was cool. It's like, that was cool, but yeah, it's like the new toy. Like, man, this toy is sweet. But this right here, the cat, it's like, nothing. It's like nothing. Because it's only be sweet for a little while and then you get used to it. Now it's nothing. Right? But if you're truly joyful, right? And it depends on what your joy, where your joy comes from. Right? I guess that's kind of, so the scripture tells you that you're supposed to joy in the Most High. You're supposed to. A lot of people don't. And that's why that happiness is so temporary. Because the joy is not really there. Because the things that in the scripture that tell you you're supposed to enjoy, we don't. But that's more so a product of this. Right? Than this. Right? Y'all with me? Okay. So I'm going to open up the floor for questions or comments.
Love it, you hate it. Teach that again next week, part 2, next week, encore. Do you want more? Okay?
There will be no part 2s.
Yes,
What you got?
Hold on. Sister Cynthia.
Okay.
I just have a quick question about St. John 13:34, where they mentioned about the new commandment. He was saying, here is the new commandment after you that you love one another. So, like, how is that really a new commandment when that's already been taking place?
It's not a new commandment. It's definitely not new. It said, a new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. I think that's the new part. Not just the love, but love as he loved. You know what I mean? Because if we like our definition of love is not his definition of love. You know what I mean? Like the love that David and Jonathan have, the love that we talked about a few weeks ago, when you love somebody like you love your own soul, you're not going to, defile your own soul. Or you're not going to, so why would you do it to another person if you truly love them? You know what I'm saying? That's real love. So that's the love that he displayed. You know what I mean? So just based on like Peter, right? Peter denied him, right? If Peter loved him the way that he loved Peter, when they said, hey, you was with him, what do you think Peter would have did? Yeah, I was with him. That's my guy. What you want to do? But Peter was like, no, I wouldn't. No. He was like, no, yes, you was. You was with him. Listen, I told you I don't know him. Right? He said he cussed old girl out.
True.
That's how adamant he wanted them to know that he knows. Look, I told you I don't know. Right? Yeah, he was afraid. He was scared to death. He was scared. Yeah. But that's the thing. That fear will separate you from his love.
It made him deny him. He says, he that denies me before people, I will deny you before the Father. So the fear made him deny him. So in actuality, it still made him not love him at that moment. Even though he don't have the hatred like you would think in his heart, but his actions show otherwise. That's what he's saying.
That fear. Yeah. But that's what that scripture that we read earlier when he say, what shall separate us from the love of Yeshua HaMashiach? And he say, neither life, nor death, nor this, nor that, nor this, nor that, nor any other creature. The only thing that can separate you from the love is you. So in that moment, Peter separated himself from the love of Hamashiach because he denied him. Because of his own fear. Because he was scared of his flesh. He was scared of what he saw they did to him, that they was going to do to him. He was terrified. Not to say that, but faced with the same, I just pray that I don't ever have to be faced with it. Because I don't know what I would do. I would venture to say I don't want to be faced with it. That's all I'm saying. Because it's going to be difficult. Because sometimes we get scared. Yeah. What's this?
I was trying to think of a way to put this, but I guess the simplest way is just to ask, could you explain, just for the clarity of everyone, the difference between, like you're saying, the anxiety of something that you know is going to take place. Perhaps you even felt that before someone died in your family. It's not because you I'm not talking about the lacking faith that God's going to take care of you. But I guess the greatest example I can think of is in the Garden of Gethsemane, what Messiah was facing, and the stress, the burden, and all that. The difference between, and then none of us have faced that, but we have faced things that we know is going to be difficult, and it does bring on certain feelings, okay, that we don't want to have to face, but we know it's coming. You know, a death or pain, physical pain or whatever. How would you characterize that as being different from, like if somebody said, I'm under stress or whatever, and then they get rebuked saying, oh, you don't have any faith. Well, I mean, the Messiah was in the garden, and he was, I mean, that's about as stressed out as you can get. So would you explain the difference between that and what you were talking about as far as lack of faith and fearing that would bring on those same kind of feelings of anxiety?
So let's go there. Because it's a very distinct difference. Matthew 26.
Matthew 26 and 36. Then cometh Yahushua with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and saith unto his disciples, sit you here while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and he began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Then saith he unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here, and watch with me. And he went a little further, and fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will.
Nevertheless, what?
Not as I will, but as you will.
That's the difference. When we're dealing with stresses, when we're dealing with different things that have us questioning to the point where we become stressed out, or in this case, he wasn't fearful. Well, I ain't gonna say he wasn't fearful. It don't state that he was fearful. It says that he was heavy, he was sorrowful, like he was sad, he was upset that he was gonna have to die. But at the same time, he said, even though this is the case, not as I will, but as you will. So when we get caught up in the different situations where we might be sorrowful or stressed out or fearful even, you still got to carry out the work. You still got to do what you know is proper, right? That's the difference. Like, it's not to say that the you don't have any faith part comes when you deter from doing what you know is right, right? But as long as you maintain what you know is the right thing to do, then your faith is still steadfast. It's still good.
Right, 'cause I know a lot of times people misjudge this stuff to say cruel things. For example, if you get a phone call and find out your child is being kidnapped, you're not going to be cool. Like,
Right.
okay, I have a lot of faith. I'm not worried.
Right.
That's inhuman.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a difference between concern and worry, right? Worry is like, oh, my goodness, what am I gonna do? Concern is like, you got my child, wait, what's going on, what's happening, you know what I mean? It's a difference.
I mean, but the parent would have fear, for lack of a better word, that their child might be found dead.
Yeah, very
I mean,
true.
we see that all the time, and it's not that they have a lack, I'm talking about like, for example, if they're a person, things happen, we pray for people, and sometimes believe that they're gonna be healed, and bam, next thing you know, they're dead.
Yeah.
You know, but, I mean, I've seen some differences in how people take it, you know, like, one teacher I used to work with, her husband died, and, I mean, didn't really show that she loved him more because, you know, sometimes other things are going on. She just about couldn't take it. And it doesn't mean that a woman who handles it didn't love her husband. You know, I mean, that's what I learned from that because she was not prepared mentally to accept
Right.
what she'd have to accept.
Right.
That people die. She would one day lose her husband, and it seemed like she was putting perhaps her whole, you know, you can love somebody, but you don't love them as much as you love them most high. You can't stand the Lord's still. You're going to lose yourself from him. But people die, things happen, you get in car accidents, people are tortured, I mean, all kinds of things happen in the world. We don't want those things to happen.
Right.
Like you were saying, I would pray that if I was faced with somebody saying, renounce the Most High or I'm going to blow your head off, I'd just be like, make it quick, go up here.
Right. But the thing is, it's difficult, especially when it's surrounding death, right? That's one of the most difficult things to really to be at peace with. You know what I mean? It's so final. It's so, you know what I mean? And just my experience with death and losing somebody is it does have you questioning to a certain extent. And then you have to really come to terms with the fact that we all gotta go. We all gotta go. Like mortality it's a real thing, and it's gonna happen. One day we all gotta go. And so you kind of prepare your heart for the fact that you gonna lose people that you love, but it's not the final say. You know, and it's more of preparing yourself, preparing your heart, preparing your mind to accept that loss because it's gonna happen. And I like just speaking personally, I just started to just accept that one day this person that I love so dearly is gonna be gone. And I hope that I'm able to deal with it better than I deal with this other situation. Or I hope that I'm able to because it's how you question and how you going through so many different, but we all gonna go. We all gonna go. I just pray that in the day that when I lose my loved ones or when my loved ones lose me, that they're able to accept it and cope. And I'm able to do the same, you know?
Just briefly as a testimony, you were saying that I remember something happened because of having a relationship with the Most High, lost someone that at that time was the person I loved most in my life. They lived in another state. I was at home and all of a sudden the Most High said, worship me. Just out the clear blue sky, I was watching a movie. And I remember I turned it off and I just started worshiping him.
like really just put ourselves in there and feel it. And as difficult and cliche as it might sound, that our comfort is supposed to be in the Most High. Like it sounds so cliche and it's so easy to say, but when you really go through it, like it legit helps. Anybody else? Got something?
Go ahead.
Speaking on, like, you lose the loved ones and, you lose the life for us, just scripture on that, the Rock, chapter 22, 11 and 12, that goes kind of like deep into what kind of being said.
You probably got to read it. So we don't got it up here.
You don't have it up there?
No, go ahead.
This is the Rock, chapter 22, verse 11. It says, "Weep for the dead, for he has lost the life, and weep for the fool, for he has wanted understanding. Make little weeping for the dead, for he is at rest. But the life of the fool is worse than death." Verse 12 says, 7 days do men mourn for him that is dead. But for a fool and an ungodly man all the days of his life. So you just mourn. I'm taking that as just mourn for your the loved one or whatever for 7 days. They, their life is at rest. Go back to the Most High.
Yeah, if they are in fact believers, yeah, for sure. But the fool, meaning those who are unbelieving, those are the ones who you really like mourn for because yeah. So it's a question. One question on the chat. It says, in following the commandments, does the 10 represent all? If not, what are the others? So, of course, you know that there is more than the 10, but those 10 are, I would say, represent all. The others are more so like statutes and judgments, and but the 10 are.
They all are intertwined. They all play a role in it. So if you break any of the 10, you're going to be doing those statutes or whatnot. You're going to be going against those, which in turn makes you break the 10 because they all intertwine.
It's like those other commandments are like subcategories of the 10, right? You uphold the 10 commandments and like literally like that love your neighbor as yourself, or don't covet your neighbor's this and don't covet your neighbor's that. It's almost like they had to be broken down into different pieces. So well, how do I not covet my neighbor's stuff? Okay, don't touch his wife, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. It's like subcategories, so to speak. All right, no other questions? No? We got any announcements? Hot tea and hair wraps is June the 27th from noon to 4? Yes, sir. Noon to 4. Hot tea and hair wraps for all you sisters. Hot tea and hair wraps.
Praise Yah for all of the people that got their newborn dates today and went into the water for the birthday.
Let us all walk in the newness of life.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I need somebody to storm foods. I got a thing in my wife's car. I need to bring it here, so after this is done, some of the big storm lads. Alright?
Are we on track with the gathering?
The gathering, we wait, somebody asked me, Al the Shabbat service, that's been tough because those different banquet places, they want that bread. So what might wind up happening is what we talked about before was just using the one, the conference room over at the one, but just not staying there, not using them for the hotel rooms. What's the name of the place? The Quality, yeah. Maybe using them, like maybe try to find a place that's nicer between here and there because they are pretty close. I know we want to plan on being here for that first day, and then using them for a Shabbat service, and then we try to find a place between here and there as far as a hotel. And I know we looked at those hotels up on like 96 that's near, that are new and nicer. So that might wind up being the option. So I mean the best option. So it might this week I'll try to contact them. I did speak to a couple places. So it's still up in the air. We got the park locked in. We're gonna be at the Pebble Creek Park on the 22nd. And then it's another sister that she puts on an event in Detroit every year, and I spoke to her the other day, and I was telling her about the gathering because she was trying to do it that same day as we do our outside barbecue. And I told her that we were doing something that day, so she wanted to maybe try to incorporate. She's a musician, she's a singer, she's an artist, she sings some of her music. I share it with y'all. So to answer your question, Sister Wanda, no. But let's try to get it all wrapped up by the end of the month.
Has a decision been made about what we're going to do with Tabernacles?
Yeah, the decision has been made, right, Sister Wanda? What do you mean? I got you on video. I got you. Let's rewind the tape. Let me get the tape. I got you on video. Huh? What you? We already decided. We're going to Salt for Tabernacles, right? 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 Not if you bring a tent, you won't. Bring a camper. Camper, trailer, hotel. You gonna live in a hotel?
It's at the top of the mountain.
It's at the top of a mountain.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
It's cabins close by though, right?
Yes, cabins close by, but they usually book. They don't have many up there.
It's cabins close by, but they usually book. They don't have many up there.
If you don't stay at that cabin, you can book it now.
If you don't stay at the cabin, you can book it now. Antoine got the information. You can get it from him. Huh? Yeah, like right now. You want to book it if you want to stay in the cabin. But that's the goal. When is Tabernacles? When they? It's October. Can we kill these fans? September 21st through September 28th is the Feast of Tabernacles. So we would like to keep the feast in the Salt community if at all possible. By the way, white part? I ain't heard that.
Still, when is the white?
That's July 25th. That's a Sunday at 7 o'clock.
Here?
No,
It's in Detroit.
the Howard, the vote.
Yeah, Dr. Howard.
This is the first I've heard about it. What is it? What is it now?
Great awakening is happening. Detroit Princeton vote or something.
Is there a flyer? Is there tickets?
It's on Facebook.
They're wearing all white.
I put it on the message board.
Alright.
Sorry, I put this one now. I put that one too just to share because it was here in the city.
Okay. So there's July the 25th. There's a all white party boat ride, right?
Yeah.
Huh? Is that what?
Yeah.
Us, yes, us, Hebrews. Okay. And then the 31st, weekend of the 31st is the event in Cincinnati, where I believe that we will be participating in a workshop where we're gonna be teaching down there. Yeah. Yeah. So if y'all can make the trip, please make it. All right, y'all ready? We're gonna pray.
Pray out, pray out, pray out. We gon' pray, we gon' pray, we gon' pray, we gon' pray. Pray out, pray out, pray out.
All minds clear? Father, y'all, we stand before y'all. We stand before y'all. Once again, thank you for your word. Thank you for your Ruach, Father, that is with us, Father, that calls all things to remembrance, Father. We pray, Father, that the word that was brought out today, Father, that it will fall on the heart and the minds of your people, Father. That would be ever present of mind. We thank you for the souls that were washed clean today, Father. We pray and ask, Father, that those souls, Father, will stand upright, Father, all the days and walk in the newness of life, Father, with a renewed mind, a renewed heart, and a right Ruach, Father. Father, understanding that your commandments are paramount and principal in order to walk in the newness of life, Father. We pray, Father, that we would all have a heart to give and not to take, that we would have an ear to listen and not a mouth to speak, Father. That we would all just love one another, Father, as you have loved us, Father, as your commandments state, Father, that we might fulfill the law, Father, according to your words. Father, we pray and ask just for any soul, Father, who may still be walking in darkness, that you would allow your service, Father, to speak a word of light, a word of power, a word of strength, Father, that you would by your utmost mercy, Father, that you would call them out of darkness, Father, into the light, Father. We pray and ask, Father, that you would just continue to lead us and guide us in all righteousness, Father, that we will walk, Father, according to your word, Father, that you will order our steps and that things will be done all decently in order. Father, all these things we pray and we give thanks. So be it.
Abinu Shibashmai, Ikadosh, Shemka, Tabo, Yase, Besuka, Bare, Kasher, Nasha, Bashmai, Telanu, Mayon, Liki, Ikanu, Usla, Lanu, A, Ashmatenu, Kasher, Suki, Kadaknu, Lasher, Ashnu, Lanu, Wa'al, Sabinu, Lehe, Wasa, Ki, E, Asumanu, Li, Ra, Ki, Laka, Mamluka, Wahi Bura, Ati Fede, Zohe, Uni, Sobe.
Deadline to register for the Great Awakening. So, okay, so this is the prices for the Great